Hello and welcome to the first ever chess game of Anish GIRI. Anish GIRI is the Russian-born Dutch super grandmaster who is very famous for his great theoretical preparation but also for his very solid style, so people often make fun of him for making so many draws. And actually we will see some origination of this story also in this game. Apart from this, he is actually quite a funny person, so anytime you see him giving an interview and so on, actually it's usually quite entertaining. Apart from this, he also has a huge social media and online appearance. He often streams on YouTube and he has like a lot of Twitter stuff. He also had quite a funny banter going on with Magnus Carlsen earlier this year. So yeah, so that's about him now. And let's go to the game. Let's go to the 10 years old Anish. So we are in 2005 now, and this game is played in St. Petersburg, where Anish was born. And the opponent is actually Dmitry Dobnia, who did not become a chess player, so we don't know much about him. So e4, c5, knight f3. Yeah, Anish is with the white pieces, I forgot to mention that. d6, d4, c takes d, knight takes d4, knight f6, so very main thing. Knight c3, and after a6, bishop e2, we are going to have the Scheveningen variation. And if you follow my channel, you would recognize that this is actually already the third time in a quite short time frame that this opening comes up. So the first game where Judit Polgar managed to beat the grandmaster, that was also the same opening, and Vishy Anand's first game was also the same opening. So you can also check out those videos if you are interested. So now comes bishop e3 in the Anish game, bishop e7, castle, castle, a4, knight c6, very main theoretical stuff, f4, queen c7, and actually if you compare the game with the Polgar-Judit game, then that Judit played the move queen e1 with the idea of rerouting the queen to g3, and then in the long run she actually played a very interesting game, and in the long run she even succeeded. And Anish played the other main theoretical line, which starts with bishop f3. Now comes knight e5. So the point of knight e5 is playing knight c4, hitting this bishop and also hitting the b2 pawn. King h1, knight c4, but Anish puts his bishop back to c1, which is a very good move, protects this pawn, and sooner or later there will be 3 coming. It's gonna kick out this knight, and the white may even put his bishop to b2. So now comes rook e8, knight goes back here to protect this knight and to push for b3. Comes rook b8, very schematical plan, playing for b5, but comes b3, knight a5, and now bishop d2. The point of bishop d2 is of course that it extrays this knight. So if black would be careless, plays b5, then we can take on b5, take back, and there is now this tactical move of knight d5, with the idea if you take, then comes bishop a5. And then later we can take back this pawn, and white is doing very well. But of course this is not what black played. Black played the move bishop f8, and here comes the main plan of white here, launching an attack on the king side with the move g4. Now comes g6, g5, hitting this knight, knight d7, and Anish goes further with f5. So f5 is usually quite a double-edged idea, because of course you are opening up some lines, so you threaten to take here or here. This f file is likely going to be open, this f7 pawn can be quite weak, but on the other hand the black knight is going to land on e5, where it's going to be just a beautiful place and a beautiful piece. So here actually the best idea would be to play the move knight c6 and then occupy with either of the knights this e5 square. But actually black makes a huge mistake here. Black plays the move e takes f5, which just gives up the control of the d5 square. And Anish uses this immediately. Plays the move knight d5, hitting this queen, and white is just very dominant. Queen d8 is only move because the queen also has to guard the knight there, and comes e takes f5. Now comes bishop g7, and here actually Anish has several fantastic ways to continue. So according to the computer, the best move here is knight g3, which is quite hard to see for humans, but the point is if you take here, and then actually you are just losing the best piece of your whole collection, and here black is just going to collapse. Yeah, and otherwise the knight g3 and then later maybe f6 and also bishop f4 hitting this pawn. Something like this is what the computer says, and also evaluates the position completely winning for white. But what Anish played is also actually a good move. He just took on g6 with the idea of opening up this diagonal. Now comes f takes g6, and here actually white had a very nice way to continue, and I just continue basically deliver the final blow. So actually I invite you here to stop the video and try to figure out how to continue with white. So as I mentioned before, at this point the best piece of black is by far this g7 bishop. So it's very logical that we make the move bishop c3, opposing this bishop, trying to exchange, and actually black is just immediately collapsing. There's nothing left here to do. Well, knight e5, maybe that's one try. We can just play the move knight f6, bishop has to take, comes bishop d5, king goes h8 and gf, and this position is just flat out horrible. We have this huge, sorry, that's an interesting bishop, but they cannot do. So this huge bishop, the other bishop, f7 is a threat, this knight is going to arrive. I mean, this is just game over. The computer says something like +6, even though there's not even a material thing going on. It's equal material wise, and still black should just resign. So, but this is not what happened. Anish played another move, which is actually also good, but it's not as easy as the other one. So bishop c3 is just a very schematical move. It's a bit surprising that actually this was not played by Anish. I mean, of course he's unrated at this point. He actually became a grandmaster just 4 years after this game. But bishop c3 is really a move that people teach to kids. So yeah, but he actually wanted a more concrete way to go on in the game, which is quite complicated, but still actually is winning. So he played move knight f6. Black has to take bishop f6. The point was, of course, to make the move bishop d5 check here. Here comes bishop e6, and actually in this position there is quite a complicated but a nice way to win the game for white. So I invite you to stop the video and try to figure out what's happening. So here, at first sight it looks that white could play the move bishop takes a5, but actually it doesn't work because after queen e5 your bishop is hanging, and if you takes back, then this rook is going to guard the bishop. So for that reason it's not bishop a5, but the good move here is to try to put your queen to d5 actually. It looks quite hard at first, but if you have huge imagination you can actually do this. So you can play the move bishop g5, which looks super strange at first, but this is exactly the point, trying to put your queen on d5. So here the only move actually is to take this g5 bishop, and white takes on e6, rook takes back, and the queen arrives on d5, and this was the whole point. Now there is this huge pin, and black can do nothing. He's going to lose his rook. Comes queen e7, probably knight d4. If you double, the white rook arrives too, and yeah, this rook is going to be taken by white, and the game is going to be also won. So yeah, this was a super nice move. It's actually very hard, so it's not surprising that unrated 10 years old didn't find it, but I wanted to show you because it's nice. So the game went on with bishop takes e6, rook takes e6, knight f4. So now white has quite some counterplay, but black is up a pawn, so the position is more or less balanced. Comes rook e8, queen f3. Well, black could take here on e1 actually, and then try to defend, but black player decided to play knight c6, which is quite logical. Try to put the knight on e5 and then protect everything. So now comes a tactical blow from Anish. Plays the move knight takes g6, and the point is of course that he wants to take on f6. This is how the game goes. So takes and queen f6. Comes knight e5, protecting this pawn, and here comes bishop c3. And in this position, if you are black, it's clear that your opponent is trying to checkmate you, so you absolutely have to exchange the queens here. So black needs to play queen f6 and then try to hold on to this ending, so rook f6. And well, but black might lose one of these pawns, but it should not be the end of the world. However, in the game, black played move queen d7, sidestepping from the queen trade, but this queen f6 is just too strong. So here comes the move bishop takes e5. The point is, of course, to eliminate the defender and then try to take on g6. Black plays the move queen c6. It's a very nice in-between move. It's of course a check, and then black wants to take back with the pawn, guarding the 6th rank from c6. And here again, I invite you to stop the video and try to figure out the best way to go on with the attack. So white obviously has two moves here, either sidestepping from the check or play rook f3. And rook f3 at first just looks like self-pinning, but it actually is a very strong move. The point is that black has to take the bishop with the pawn, and here white has the chance to make the move rook g1, activating this rook, and immediately rook g6 is a huge threat. And actually when black takes, rook takes, then all of a sudden white was going to take with probably with the g rook on g6, going to be up a pawn, and it's still, the black king is still in some danger. So this would have been better and probably winning or close to winning, but the queen c6 check, Anish played the move king g1, which is also logical. You're not self-pinning yourself. Comes d takes e5, exchange, and very important move rook f6. The rook at f6 is just super strong. It attacks this pawn, and probably even this pawn. So black still has to be careful here. And he plays the move rook c8, which allows white to activate his rook. So he could have played the move rook d1 with the plan of putting the rook on d6 and basically just taking everything on the 6th rank, which is pretty much winning for white. But this is not what Anish did. Anish played the move rook g6 check, which is also quite logical. You just take the pawn and then hope that it's enough to win. King f7, rook g3, the black king goes up, try to get some counterplay. White activated the rook, rook d8, rook g6 checks, king d5, and here comes probably the strangest part of the game, because Anish is up a pawn. He plays the move rook d1 check, and he offers a draw. And of course black immediately accepted this. I don't know whether immediately, but black is obviously very happy to accept this because he's just on a pawn. His king is in the middle of the board. He probably would have played king e4 and tried to hope for the best, but after like rook e1 check, king back, and h4 probably, white has still serious winning chances. But so this is not what happened. After rook d1 check, Anish offered a draw. And this is this drawing habit that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that yeah, I mean, Anish for some reason has this habit, and even when he was just 10 years old he did this. Yeah, so strange ending of the game, but this was the first ever game of Anish GIRI. So I hope you like this video, and in the future I will continue this series, and the next video is going to be about Magnus Carlsen again, about his first ever victory against the grandmaster. So see you in that video.